Hello and welcome to the Woo with Amber. I'm your host, Amber, the lady behind my business, The Intuitive Witch, a business that I grew by integrating and trusting my intuitive gifts, practically using my intuition to build a business I love, build a life I love. It helped me to unstuck from patterns that weren't working for me. It looked like me leaving a 9 to 5 that was no longer aligning. It looked like me moving through burnout and stepping into a life that feels like magic. So in this podcast, I love to share stories and inspiration that explore the mystical and the intuitive and bring it together in a really grounded and integrated way. I'm here for real conversations, deep intuitive insights, mindset shifts, and deeply embodied transformation. So let's go to the show. So, in today's episode, I want to talk about shadow work. I mean, that is basically my bread and butter, but I want to come at it from a place of we should not be doing this all the time. I have gotten very good at shadow work, and I've spent a lot of time unpacking things that are people's problems, like diving into them, because there are people in the world where we just put our head in the sands and we ignore the things that aren't working for us and just hope that it's going to get better. And I mean, in some cases it does, but in some cases we do need to look at the thing, acknowledge the thing, feel the thing, let it move through us, let it finish its cycle in our body, and then we'll move through it. It's the story I told in a couple of podcast episodes ago, the one about the bison and the cow, where when you see something uncomfortable is happening and well, I guess I'll rewind. Bison cow. So bison cow's story or fable is that there's a storm coming. The cows see the storm and they run in the other direction. They try to run away from the storm. And as they're running, the storm is moving in the same direction that they're moving. So as they're running away, the storm catches up to them and they keep running, but the storm cloud is over top of them. And so they're running away from the problem, yet they're like stuck in the problem, stuck in the storm, the thing they're trying to get away from. Where with the bison move towards the storm. And yes, they still experience the storm, but it's for a different amount of time because it goes over them rather than moving with them. And they lean into it, come out the other side, and it's so much quicker. And in reality, that is like part of my work is like when you have a desire, something you're moving towards, and it gets really uncomfortable and you kind of don't want to look at it. That's where someone like me is really supportive because I can hold you, create safety so you can lean in like the bison and move through that rainstorm and keep moving towards that thing you're desiring, but you're not stuck like the cows in that discomfort because a lot of times we get stuck and it gets uncomfortable and then just everything doesn't feel great because we're stuck in the discomfort. And so when it comes to shadow work, I believe that sometimes it's kind of funny in a way. We are the cows in the fact that we ruminate on the problem or we just like won't put it down. We're always trying to like figure out a solution. When it pings again, like whatever your problem is, when it pings again, you jump back into trying to problem solve it rather than leaning into the discomfort of it and then getting really clear on what you want instead. So when the discomfort comes up, I'm a real big fan of letting that like sensation experience move through your body. Because if you don't, what I find is if we are like our mind kind of spins on stories to try to understand why we feel uncomfortable. And I think if it gets to the bottom of the story, then the uncomfortableness in our body will go away. So I know I'm guilty of this, and maybe you are too. When I get into this place where something isn't working, I will ruminate on it and ruminate on it. And the rumination actually just helps to keep the cycle going, keep you in the storm of the thing that you actually don't want. And the reason that we keep ruminating on it and the mind keeps like spinning up stories, even when you're like, okay, we need to drop this. Like, this isn't helping anything. We're just going to try to forget it. And then you're sitting there and your body starts to feel uncomfortable. And then the story comes back again and you start ruminating on it and you start being like, well, next time I'm going to say this or I'm going to do that. But in reality, what I would if you were coming for a session with me, we would get you into your body and feel where this is energetically living to let it finish its cycle in your body, move the sensation. Because once we can dissipate the sensation, the rumination, the stuckness, it can start to dissipate. Like I remember one time I was working with my coach, I was like 10 out of 10, so mad at my husband. He had done something and like don't get me wrong, like it was worthy of being mad, but not to the extent and it was ruminating and it's one of those things, and I think I've said this before, but I'll say it again. It was like when you're so mad at someone, it's like drinking poison and hoping it's going to kill them. Like the anger doesn't serve you, it doesn't fix the problem, it doesn't make things better. And then leaving yourself trapped in that perpetual rumination and frustration is just like it's just keeping you stuck in that energy. And then when you're in that frequency, because I believe in frequencies, then you're attracting more situations that just continue to feed that frequency. So for me, it's like, let's stop, let's get into it, and let's move it. And I find so when I did that work with the situation with my husband, with my coach, where we sat in my body and we went through the sensation, allowed the sensation energy to finish its cycle in my body, I went from like 10 out of 10 livid to like 2 out of 10. And I was able to then access the creative solution part of myself to come at it in a much different way. Because if I had come at him on 10 out of 10 frustration, I was just going to attack him, which was going to put his guards up, and then nothing was going to get resolved. Anyways, we were both going to leave pissed off, and nothing like it would be just perpetuating what already wasn't working. So when it comes to shadow work, yes, I do believe dig into it, lean into it, juice it, get into the body, but I don't think you should be doing that all the time. I think it should be a practice that we can sprinkle throughout our day, or it's something that we can come to maybe like an intentional hour a day. Like, I feel like that's really juicy because if you intentionally get into your body and just do sensations work, that's all I did for almost a year, was just every day. I just came back to my body and did sensations work and just notice where I felt uncomfortable and just witness those sensations, love them, let them move through my body. Things shifted because it's not about getting to the root of it and understanding it and figuring out the details. Actually, sometimes the solutions, or not some of the time, all the time, the solutions are not going to come to you in that place of total anger, just like when you're all consumed by everything that you are experiencing, by that frustration and by the thoughts of like, oh, well, when I see them next time, I'm going to say this and do that. Like I'm in a season right now where there's something coming up and I am so triggered and I'm so activated. But the solution isn't coming through me fighting that person. The solution isn't coming through me ruminating on, like, I should say this to them or I should do that. The solution is coming through me to being like, okay, I don't like this. What is the opposite? And I'm going to daydream about the opposite. I'm going to give that my attention and that my love. I am going to, whenever I feel myself getting stirred up, and the mind stories really start to spin, I'm going to get back into my body. I'm going to ground myself again because the solutions aren't coming when I'm like I'm newly back on Instagram and TikTok. I was there many years ago. I totally deleted and now I'm back again. But I was talking about on there the squeeze that you get when and the anger, like that is fuel to have you be pissed off enough to make a change. But I do not believe that I guess not all the time. I mean, you can burn shit to the ground. Like, that's fucking cool. Let's do that. But I'm more here for a bit of a more grounded experience where you get fucking angry. You're like, I want the opposite. And then you use that anger from before to be that fuel, that catalyst to take action as the breadcrumbs roll in, as you continue to focus on what you do want. And also focus on, so when it comes to shadow work, I think, like, this is a long story long, but when it comes to shadow work, It should not be something that you spend a lot of time on. It is still, I think, an important part, especially for people that tend to shy away from the things that feel uncomfortable. Shadow work can be really supportive to help you move towards those things you're desiring. But the shadow work shouldn't be 24/7. And if you are 24/7 ruminating, looking to fix yourself 24/7, like I was just even I was at networking not too long ago, and entrepreneur was talking about she has all the tricks, she's tried all the strategies, and she's just it's not working. And from my perspective, that's because she was doing all these things from a place of fixing and from a place of the problem, rather than being focused on what she did desire and how she wanted to feel. Because I'm really into the like, how do you want to feel? How did she want it to feel? Because what wasn't working? And then she was trying all these things to try to fix it. But actually, what she needed to do was to get into the frequency of how she wanted to feel. Like, and you can get yourself feeling how you want to feel without having the solution even presented itself yet. You can do gratitude journaling to like remember all the good things that you have in this given moment. Or you can go do something that your heart is pulling you towards. Go do something fun, maybe, or do something that just like feels like it's been calling to you, like maybe watching a show or going for a walk or going for brunch. And if you have no one to go with, maybe just go by yourself because it feels so luxurious to treat yourself, or wear something that makes you feel really like what you expect you're going to feel like when the solution comes in, because then you're putting yourself in the frequency that you are, because like attracts like. You're going to be putting yourself in that frequency of the solutions of the energy that you're looking for. And so the shadow work, it's beautiful. I 100% am here for it. I think we should always make time to do some level of shadow work. And like one of the reasons why I love sensations work is because we don't have to dig into all the details. We can just like let our body energetically trust that it knows how to move the energy. We just need to relax and allow it to move through us. And we don't need to rehash any of the and mind use our minds to try to dissect it to death, rather just like it's a simple, subtle embodied practice. And then you get to trust that the solutions are going to find you, are going to come to you. In the season that I'm at right now, where this thing I'm navigating is triggering me super fucking hard, I am I'm finding breadcrumbs, and it's been so cool. But I was like, I just want to feel this way. I don't want to feel this way anymore. I want to feel this way. And and don't get me wrong, I started off with this being like trying to figure out solutions and going down paths of like, how am I going to fight to make this work? And then I was like, no, that's not how it works. I need to get clear on what the opposite is, because that is actually what I'm desiring, and feed that. And then trust that I'm going to get breadcrumbs, because I always do. You always do too. That the breadcrumbs are coming with the solution for what I'm desiring. So if you're in a season where you are constantly thinking you need to fix yourself, or you are constantly thinking that, or you constantly find yourself ruminating on things and unpacking things and playing the story in your head, well, next time I would say this differently. Like that is a place that isn't supporting what you want. That's a pattern that's keeping you stuck where you don't want to be. So if you are desiring, because we all the contrast, the ickiness, the storm that passes through is there to help us get clear on what we do want. And if you are in a season where you feel really stuck and you have a desire that you want to move towards, and you'd love to learn how to embody all these practices, because for me this is just how I move through life now. I had coaches, different coaches along the way that has helped shaped me into this process of, when it gets really sticky, I always fall into it for a hot second. I always turn into the cow for a hot second. But then I catch myself and I'm like, no, we're going to lean in And then we're going to get clear on what the opposite is. And then we're going to trust that the solutions are coming and that we don't need to pick it apart, that we can just trust that our desire and our alignment is enough to move us towards those things we want. And so, yes, if you're in a season of contraction, kind of stuck in a storm, you could always send me a message or head to my website and set up a free discovery call. It is for my 6-month package where we take you from feeling really stuck and overwhelmed and squeezed, feeling so squeezed and it feels so uncomfortable to moving towards your desires, having the tools that when we're done the 6-month package, that I'm not teaching you a method. I'm teaching you an embodied practice that you're going to use no matter what situation you encounter, so you can lean into your bison energy and start to continue to take steps towards your desires, because your desires just keep pulling you. You keep stepping through storms, and we cultivate that practice so that you can do it with more ease and start to move towards things that you are desiring because you desire them for a reason. When I was networking, there was these women talking so passionately about their stuff and then being like, but I don't know. But yet they are taking those steps. And I'm like, yes, take those steps. There's a reason why you desire the things you desire. And moving towards that is going to give you the vitality, the zest for life, because that is the aligned steps. And there's going to be contrast and challenge either way, whether or not you move towards your desires. But when you're moving towards your desires, I find you have this like extra like, yeah, I can do this, versus when you're kind of contracted and staying where it doesn't feel good and the next storm hits, you don't have the same level of zest or capacity to be like, I'm going to work through this because I can see what the like and what I'm working towards, or I know what I'm desiring, and I know how like important this work is. So I said a lot there, but long story long, if you are in a season where you are constantly ruminating and you are constantly, yeah, just in that like squeezy energy and like really thinking you need to fix yourself, please pause. Please pause and do your best to flip the script and come back to your body and come back to the things that bring you joy and trust that that thing that isn't working for you is just giving you clarity on what you don't want so you can get clear on what you do want and feed that instead. So, until next time, may something magical and intuitive flow to you today.